Welcome to the Den, the Dark Entertainment Network. I'm the Gothic Rose, and this is the dark tale of the day. Hello, dear fiends of the Den. As you know, the Dark Entertainment Network is a channel where the news meets conspiracy theories. It makes babies in my brain, and it comes out my mouth. If you like this type of content, please like, subscribe, hit that bell, and don't forget to leave me a comment because I am not going to stop. We are back with more haunted history of Hollywood, and I've been talking about lavender marriages, and I've been bringing up Nepo babies, which we're just starting to get to with some of these stars who were famous silent film actors whose sons and daughters went on to be famous actors. And the two I am talking about today are father and son, Lon Chaney and Lon Chaney Jr. I do realize I am going to need to either backtrack or fast forward to Douglas Fairbanks and Douglas Fairbanks Jr. and my theory that Hollywood builds these Nepo babies to keep all of the secrets contained. This story is so cats in the cradle, so dark between father and son, famous duo, Nepo baby, beginning of the dark secrets of Hollywood. Wait until you hear it. So, trigger warning, this does contain talk of self harm. And if that's something that you are uncomfortable with, thank you for watching. Up until now, I will see you on the next episode in the Den. Today I'm talking about both father and son, but you can catch up this week going deeper into their roles, their contracts, and everything that had to do with their careers. But I would like to compare father and son's vastly different careers. And of course, these careers were shaped by society. They were shaped by the eras that they worked in. So, Lon Chaney was a silent film actor and much more animated in his work, whereas Lon Chaney Jr. was part of the talkies who made lots of Universal monster movies and so many others. And he still had trouble escaping his father's shadow. And critics pan some of his acting, while other critics say that he is a legend with, like I said, universal monsters. Lon Chaney Sr. was born April 1st, 1883, in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and he died on August 26th, 1930, in Los Angeles, California. And he is buried at the Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale, California. Now, his son, Lon Chaney Jr., was born February 10th, 1906, in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma Territory, USA. He died July 12th, 1973, in San Clemente, California, and his burial, well, he donated his body to medical science rather than be buried. Very interesting of Lon Chaney Jr. to do that, having played all of these universal monsters brought back to life. Count Dracula, he played the Mummy, he played Frankenstein, and he played the Wolfman. He is the only actor within the Universal family to hold the honor to play all four Universal monsters. But still, he felt he was in the shadow of his father, Lon Chaney Sr. Lon Chaney Jr. was born Creighton Chaney. Now, as I said, he was best known for his roles in classic horror films. But his father, Lon Chaney Sr., had a vastly different career, and he was a silent film legend known as the Man of 1,000 Faces. What he was also known for was his intensely private life. So, unless Chaney Sr. was doing a movie or any sort of promotion and public relations for the movie, he avoided the spotlight outside of all of his films. However, His first marriage to Frances Cleveland Creighton ended in scandal when she attempted suicide in public in 1913, and this led to a bitter divorce. And a young Creighton, who later became Lon Chaney Jr., was reportedly told that his mother had died. So, in this divorce, Lon Chaney Sr. took his son from his mother after she attempted suicide in public. So, trigger warning, here is how this story went down. So, Frances Cleveland, who was also known as Cleva Creighton, Lon Chaney Sr.'s first wife, attempted suicide in 1913 by swallowing mercuric chloride at the Majestic Theater in Los Angeles. She survived, but the incident ruined her singing career. She was a singer, and it led to a bitter divorce. And the scandal forced Lon Chaney Sr. to leave the theater world and transition into film. Now, Lon Chaney Jr. was just a child when this happened, so after the divorce, his father and stepmother, Hazel Hastings, raised him, and he was reportedly told that his mother had died. He lived in various homes and boarding schools until his father remarried in 1916, providing a more stable home. But it wasn't until 1930, after his father's death, that Lon Chaney Jr. discovered that his mother was still alive. And this revelation deeply affected him, adding to the emotional struggles that he faced throughout his life. His troubled relationship with his father, combined with the shock of learning the truth about his mother, contributed to his melancholy personality and later with his struggles with alcoholism. Of course, Lon Chaney Jr. struggled with all of this throughout his life and felt that he was not only living under his father's shadow for being a silent film legend, but under his shadow for being lied to about his mother once he found out she was still alive. So Frances Cleveland, Cleva Creighton, was a stage singer who married Lon Chaney Sr. in 1905, but their marriage was very troubled, largely due to financial struggles and the demands of Chaney's rising career in theater. So by 1913, their relationship had deteriorated, and Cleva was desperate, emotionally distressed, and obviously, as I said, attempted suicide in public at the Majestic Theater in LA. Now, this substance, mercuric chloride, severely damaged her vocal cords and ended her singing career. Now, after the divorce, Cleva largely disappeared from public life. She lived in various locations, according to reports, including boarding houses and small apartments. And when Lon Chaney Sr. remarried in 1916 and raised their son, Lon Chaney Jr., with his second wife, Hazel Hastings, Chaney Jr. was told that his mother had died and only discovered the truth after his father's death in 1930. Now, Cleva lived until 1967, but little is documented about her later years. She remained largely out of the spotlight. She never returned to the entertainment industry, and her tragic story contributed to the mystique surrounding Lon Chaney Sr., who became known for his ability to portray suffering and transformation on screen. And we'll talk more about his performances this week, but this really affected Lon Chaney Sr.'s approach to his films. Lon Chaney Jr. always had a very melancholiness about him. I just saw him in Son of Dracula on Svengoolie this past Saturday, and it wasn't my favorite performance of his. It was very dry. He didn't act like a Dracula, although he was great as the Mummy. He was great as Frankenstein. He was great as the Wolfman. Will go into his films further, but it makes sense that knowing his life was so incredibly tragic and he was lied to and shuffled around, and then you find out the truth, that definitely has an effect. It added to his alcoholism, which is something else we will get into. Hollywood is so dark. On a high note, Lon Chaney Jr. did eventually reunite with his mother, Cleva Creighton, but this is only after discovering many years later that she was alive. He was led to believe that she had died, and the revelation deeply affected him, and it added to his emotional struggles that shaped his later years. So there are no real sources for their reunion, there's no real details. It is only known that Cleva lived until 1967, but Chaney Jr. never spoke extensively about their relationship. But he was so severely impacted by all of these lies that lots of it did come out in his public persona. I mean, lots of places are dark, lots of history is dark, but Hollywood collectively, as I'm seeing, has the most dark history in one small area. Like per capita, haunted Hollywood, old Hollywood is literally riddled with scandal. It's like you can't even step on the street of LA without stepping in a new scandal. And I am loving uncovering all of them. And if you are too, you're enjoying the haunted Hollywood history, let me know. If you have any dark tales of Hollywood you would like to share, from movies to actors to directors, producers, anything you've got, email me at welcome to the den podcast at gmail.com. Thank you, dear fiends of the den. I appreciate each and every one of you who is part of this community. And if you do like this content, please share, like, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell. Thank you for joining me in the den. The Dark Entertainment Network is here for all your macabre needs.